What's the general demi operation? What's that about? I would. Not only would I'd actually put a lot of first off, I think not only is that necessary, but not and I feel like
Dog. Well. Oh, dog. Well, hand me that guitar. Hand me that guitar. Dog, let's get this show on the road. Here's one you'll know. Hey everyone, hello. We're doing an early stream today, very, very early. Again, I thought we were going to beat this case yesterday. I'm surprised we haven't. I don't think this is going to be super long. I am heading out on a trip with some friends up to Northern California. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on Discord. But yeah, I think it's probably the best idea to just like go right into the game and make sure we actually can get it. Because you honestly never know with these games. You know, you might think you're close, and then it's like there's a whole, you know, new curveball. Hey there, Nachito. Hello, Retro. Hey, Sid. And Tata Stone, man, it's so nice to see you again. It's really cool that these earlier streams we've been able to get some, you know, European friends and people from different areas. Oh, I'm very caught up. I'm very caught up, Tata Stone, no doubt about it. Very, very caught up. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this up. Let me make sure my camera's going. But yeah, how's everyone's Friday going so far? Anyone have any fun plans for the weekend? Okay, gosh, let's see if we can actually figure this out. I did not look up anything. So, honestly, I don't really know what to do for this. I'm trying to remember. Hey there, Paradigm! Yo, nice to see you! It's been a minute, Paradigm. How are you, man? Okay, this is really complicated. So basically, they're willing to accept that Von Karma falsified it, but he only managed to have him convicted as an accomplice. That's actually, again, I guess the difference was Manfred Von Karma lied to Edgeworth and not the populace. Yeah, what have you guys been playing? What games have people been up to? I know, Zeta. I want to beat this case before the weekend. I have a trip that I'm going on later today, so I'm like, I know I'm throwing everyone off. I hope I'm not gonna really. Ooh, hold on a second. Yeah, no detailed autopsy report due to the body going missing. I mean, I feel like that's part of this, but I also feel like I objected this already. FF9. I can't believe you're still playing FF9, Sid. You're crazy. I can't wait to, like, tease you in real life. I'm like, you're ridiculous. You're absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, Friday at 11:30, I know. I'm just like, I'm out here being ridiculous. Nexit, yo! Oh, man, it's nice to see people so early. All right, does this matter? No detailed autopsy report due to that being missing. I think I've already objected to this. What is Peglin? I don't know what Peglin is. The real culprit is misbound.
Hold it!
After dinner. Yeah, poor Nexit overseas too. I suggesting they killed him together. Tanjiro was the one to commit the act itself, and she removed the body. Stole his corpse and hid it. Her plan to poison and kill him was her attempt to frame him for Frost's murder. Okay, is there something about this? Her plan to poison and kill him was her attempt to frame him for murder. The statute is suspended should the suspect flee to a foreign country. Oh, that's interesting. Separate time frames apply with regards to claims for damages. It's suspended from the time of any accomplice's indictments. Oh, hold on a second. That might be it. Hold up. This isn't over yet. One thing we don't have an answer to. Okay, so maybe that's not it. Maybe the statute isn't what's important at the moment. What are we missing? What are we missing? I honestly, I feel like this connection between the victim and this guy... Pachinko roguelike? Wait, what? That's crazy. Pachinko roguelike? How does that even work? Karma only managed to have Tanjiro convicted as an accomplice. The real culprit is misbound. Okay, hold on. If he got convicted as an accomplice, does that mean in the past they proved who was supposed to be the killer? Ugh, I don't know. This is tough. I feel like if we really break it down, we can probably figure out like the time frame. Man, I wish I had like a piece of paper or something. The plan to poison and kill Gusto was her attempt to frame him for murder. Do I have anything suspicious on Gusto, maybe? Do I have anything that would make Gusto look suspicious? We've got the chocolates. Yeah, Shagraz, I was making fun of Sid the Kid for playing FF9. I mean, I feel like this is pretty interesting. Oh, I'm so stumped right now. The murder weapon from the IS-7. It's a salt lamp stained with frost blood. See, that is interesting. How do they get frost blood? How do they fabricate this? But then what statement should I do? The real culprit is misbound? I mean, I guess maybe she would argue that she could have stained it with the blood. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. I mean, this is pretty crazy. The bleeding of these guys. This music is so good. Oh, I love that. We got a gavel. Unless Sid is just banishing us for bashing her. Lost 18 years ago, only to be rediscovered floating in the fountain. Taurus, Gemini. This music is so good. I actually don't mind being stumped too. This music is so good. Yeah, we don't know why Gusto opened it. Wait, we don't know why Gusto opened it. Do I have evidence that talks specifically about Gusto opening the sketch? Why would he do that?
Objection!
Darn. 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 Giratina, I played Tears of the Kingdom early this year. Ugh, this is so hard. Her plan to poison and kill... That's funny, Sugarus. Her plan to poison and kill Gusto was her attempt to frame him for murder. But then, yeah, why would Gusto open... And is this the best evidence to talk about Gusto opening it? We also don't know where the Asphyxian came from. We know where the Ubiquium came from. Oh, no, I guess the Asphyxian came from, the Cold Killer X. This is hard. This is really hard. No, this is the new one, Ton of Stone. Look at how good this game looks. This is definitely not the DS. This is, the, Legacy Collection. Yeah, Steam, straight up. We have all the evidence we need to explain the IS-7 and the poison gas. Do we, though? Wait, do we, though? Oh my gosh, I'm really grasping at straws. I do feel like this might be the statement. Hold up, let's ask her again what she thinks. All the evidence you need. In the matter... Yeah, it is Ton of Stone. It's on basically every system. We have a body, a murder weapon, and 2 suspects. As for the poison gas, we have the sources of the 2 chemicals and Miss Bound's confession. As for you, Mr. Edgeworth, we also have enough evidence to see that you yourself will have to answer to the committee in a formal hearing. Wow. In what way? I actually don't know what Edgeworth did that was overstepping his bounds. Your Honor, I'd greatly appreciate if we could stay focused on the matter at hand. We have therefore determined there's no need to investigate any case any further. Why did he open this up? Why did he open this up? Oh my gosh. I'm floundering. I'm floundering. I am floundering here. Because, like, there are so many statements that it could be. There are so many... I think it's $40, Tunniston. I think it's $40. Which, I'm gonna tell you right now, this game finally being localized, worth every penny. And you get the other game, too. Victim was inside one of his creations. I feel like there's too much data. It has to be the case file. The case file has to be the bit of evidence to present, I think. Alright, I'm dead. I'm dead. We need to reload. Gang, this is hard. This is really hard. Oh, man. Well, there definitely will be a sale. There's no doubt about that. You can wait for a sale. This is the type of game that's absolutely going to get a sale. But I would highly recommend it still. It's really, really fun, even though I'm absolutely stumped right now. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. If you accept that Von Karma's falsified, why won't you re-investigate it? Because the Goddess of Justice is never wrong. Her verdict remains true despite Von Karma's manipulations. Despite blatant evidence tampering, you sure your precious goddess is into that? Almost makes you think the committee might have other reasons for not wanting this looked into again. Further investigation is simply unnecessary. Is that right? Maybe that's it? He didn't just falsify the autopsy, though. Maybe he also falsified the case file? No worries, Sid. Don't even worry about it. I'm kind of stumped right now.
Hold it.
I believe it was a confession that sealed Tangaroa's fate. A confession secured by Mr. Von Karma, which should surely cast doubt on the final verdict. Tangaroa confessed the initial investigating officer. The official record stated it was his interrogations that led to the conviction. All I can say to you is the Goddess of Justice has already spoken. Are these committee guys really that big of a deal? First, I've come to believe the real culprit is Miss Bound. Her plan to poison and kill Gusto was her attempt to frame him for Frost's murder. But the man opened this. The man opened up the case. He fell for the trap. I'm about ready to... Oh, man. It's like, why would he come into the hall? Oh, man, this is so hard. There are so many statements it could be. No need to investigate any case either for any further. The sun visited every day up until the finals. Falsified the autopsy. Only managed to have Tangaroa convicted as an accomplice. I feel like maybe these matter. Because it's true, the confessions were ultimately what did him in without the body being found. Well, Karma falsified the autopsy. Oh yeah, dog. It was hooped. Getting to see Edgeworth's dad versus him was really, really cool. This was a great case, as hard as this is. Oh, he didn't just falsify. Hold up. He didn't just falsify the autopsy. Maybe he falsified the weapon. Who won? Ultimately, Von Karma won. But Gregory got a mark against his record. He got a mark against the record, which Von Karma was very upset about. He won because it was falsified. A loser just like his son. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm like about ready to look up the answer. This is really difficult. Something has been overlooked. Edgeworth is not giving any hints about what that something is. This isn't over yet. There's still one thing we don't have an answer to. It's up to me to point it out to Judge Gavel. Maybe what the real murder weapon was back in the day? Because again, it's very likely that this salt weapon was also... It's possible that this was fabricated as well. Von Karma only managed to have Tangaroa convicted as an accomplice. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. Alright, I think I might just look this up, honestly. This is hard. Dog, I mean, I don't want to, but I also don't want to, like, keep nano-waiting like a million years. I feel like I probably could figure it out, too, but man. Shingo, hello to you. I mean, the fact that this was rediscovered floating, I mean, we know that this was wrapped around the body. Hey, Kirito. Hey there, Shingo. I mean, again, this is really bizarre. This, like, the way that the blood was set up. But then again, we know that Bound kind of did this. I would love if you could help Shingo. This is Gavel talking about... Gavel is talking about Von Karma falsifying the autopsy, but she still thinks that Judy Bound was the real culprit.
Hold it.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. You accept that he falsified the report. Why won't you reinvestigate the case? The Goddess of Justice is never wrong. Despite blatant evidence tampering. Hey, Cowboy. It's unnecessary since the Goddess has spoken. Honestly, Shingo, if you can just make me... You don't have to straight tell me the answer. If you can just lead me in a direction. Because, like, I feel like so many of her statements are very possible. And there's just... Like, the way that I see it, there's a few things that are outstanding. The relationship with Frost and Gusto is outstanding. Like, this photo is very interesting. I also feel like the statute of limitations might be interesting, too. You're cleaning. No worries, Cabo. That's a good way to go. Cleaning. Always good to be productive. Matches that of sugar found in the pale blue liquid. Sketches depicting what Larry saw. I see. Okay, so here's a few things. Like, is the salt lamp actually the murder weapon? Did Von Karma falsify that as well? Okay, see, that's so funny you say that, because I was thinking that earlier too, Shingo. That's, these files talk about, being an accomplice versus not being an accomplice. No, that could be it, honestly. Because, like, the fact that Von Karma... The fact that there's a discrepancy between Von Karma's report and Fender's report is really interesting. Because did Von Karma only do that just to protect Edgeworth, you know? Convicted as an accomplice based on his one. Hey there, Random. Yeah, I mean, the kids are interesting. Again, I feel like the photo of them and their relationship is partly part of it too. The real culprit is misbound. He falsified the... So I've already tried objecting to those, I think. With all the evidence we need to explain them both. She wants a reason to check what is going on. Well, I'll try submitting the report a bunch. The report, this feels like the evidence most likely to make her, I'll try objecting to all of her statements with the autopsy report, or with the case file. Because again, this is definitely the most likely. Talking about ways that it was... Yikes. This is really tough. I feel like I've already done these, but I'll do it again. Alright, I guess it is officially not that. This is such a hard one, because there are so many statements that are interesting. There are so many interesting statements. It's not even... It's honestly not even clear that her last statement is the one to object to. We have all the evidence we need. No, you're okay. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I mean, it is interesting. And certainly the kids... That was the first thought that I had, like, yesterday, was, like... Was the relationship between Gusto and the victim. Like, they seemed pretty close. The real culprit is misbound. Honestly, that's funny, Shingo. Don't even worry about it, because there's a lot of, I'm actually trying to go on a trip today, too. All the evidence to explain the incident and the gas. Do we have all the evidence we need to do the IS-7 and the gas? It was good, Kirito. It was very nice. It was very nice. Watched a movie. Ate some pizza. It's a good time. Watched a movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? How could you beat someone if you poison them to death? There what's complicated, Tondastone, is that there are two, it was a great movie, Cub, I loved it. There's two cases that are being talked about. One in which there was an alleged bludgeoning because they never found the body, and then one in which there was a poisoning, although the man is not actually dead. Good job, Cowbell.
Objection!
I do agree that she probably wants to look into this. Dragon Ball Lover, I'm sorry you're here right now, because let me tell you, I'm really floundering. I'm very floundering. I'm very much floundering. Like, could it be are chocolates involved in some way? Report on final statement? I thought I've done that already. I'm gonna be really mad if that's actually it. Yeah, it's not. I like the idea of the Dragon Ball. Maybe I need to press things? Maybe I didn't press everything. I felt like I pressed everything, but... Maybe I need to press everything again. I don't know. I feel like I pressed everything. It'd be embarrassing if I didn't, let me tell you.
Objection!
Only managed to have him convicted as an accomplice. Secured by Von Karma. Yeah, both Coen brothers, yep. That's kind of how I feel, Shugraz. It's not like the end of the world to show up late, but... Yeah, and Cabell, I watched a movie called Sullivan's Travels. I think it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. And in that's a movie about making a movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I'm gonna be very annoyed if I didn't press everything.
Hold it. Objection.
All right, I'm gonna save that again just in case that matters. No need to investigate either case any further. Oh, Shingo got the Eureka moment. This is so hard. This is really hard. Because, again, if I think about outstanding things, it's like, okay, you know, what was Tangaroa an accomplice to? Like, who was the real conviction if it's just an accomplice? I'm completely stumped. I'm very stumped. Judge Gavelle, she's not only a bae, she's a tricky one. She's very, very crafty and tricky. Gemini case analysis. Sugar, salt, blood. What, maybe the missing liar? Maybe the missing liar strings? Does that matter? Do the missing liar strings matter? Okay, I guess not that. Yeah, she is on Edgeworth like nothing else. And again, Edgeworth's not a novice. He's like a very accomplished prosecutor, you know? You think the Gemini case? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Okay, what was it? What was it? I love Edgeworth shaking his finger like Like he hasn't been floundering. Oh my gosh, I'm afraid there's been one question that remains unanswered. Would you mind taking a look at this? What is it? There are test results carried out on the liquid at the bottom of the Gemini case. As you can see, traces of blood were detected. The question is, whose? Oh. Wait, what? Oh. There was blood in the Gemini case. Okay, I would never have thought of that. Clearly, I would never have thought of that, so. Because Detective Gumshoe informed me the results directly. I was planning to tell Mr. Winter about it myself, of course. You kept this to yourself until now, despite having no jurisdiction here whatsoever. Mark my words, the committee will hear all about what you've done here today. As ever, my interest is in the truth, and if mistakes were made in the past, they must be rectified. If you must report me to the committee, then so be it. But in return, we must be allowed to investigate this case to the very end. Edgeworth is so cool, risking his entire profession for one case. That is not my decision to make. You will need to discuss it with Eustace. Guess who's back, losers, and with good news, too. Yeah, that is exactly it, Shingo. The assumption is it's the victims, but nobody ever did the analysis. That's such a good point. That's a hard answer to solve. That's a hard answer to solve, or a hard question to solve. Gusto's alive. He made it. Look at him. You're the ones who found me. Yep. Long time no see, Gusto. You're the attorney's assistant. You've grown, and you have an assistant of your own now. Assistant? No, I'm... Heh, he hasn't got the gig just yet. This is Gregory Edgeworth's son. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth at your service. Huh. Fate moves in mysterious ways. I'm in your debt. If you hadn't found me in time, I wouldn't be here to thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. After all, if you hadn't lived, we wouldn't be able to ask you what really happened 18 years ago. We haven't figured out what... we figured out quite a bit while you were out cold, including the fact that you're probably the guy who off poor Artie Frost. Oh! He was in Zhang Fa, so the statute of limitations doesn't apply! He was in Zhang Fa, right? Training! A trap that involved rigging the Pisces case with poison gas. Perhaps in light of that fact, you could tell us in your own words what happened back then. Or perhaps you'd rather exercise your right to remain silent. Oh, it's not that. Gusto here's a fan of the old meditation. You know, Om and all that jazz. Wow, sleeping while standing seems pretty cool. That's one heck of a talent. Except there's no sleeping involved in meditation, Kay. Hey, Gusto, old pal, how about you snap out of it and tell us what happened back then? I was caught in the girl's trap, so I must be the killer? Is that your idea of a joke? I'm the victim here. Indeed you are, Mr. Gusto, and there is no evidence that you have done anything wrong yet. Mr. Edgeworth and Mr. Fender are merely speculating. Rest assured that they have no authority here and that you may pay them no heed. At least somebody here seems to be on my side. Judge Verity Gavel, it's a pleasure, Mr. Gusto. I will assist you in any way you may require. Perhaps you could begin by explaining what actually happened 18 years ago to Mr. Edgeworth. You want me to prove I'm innocent, Mr. Prosecutor? I'll be happy to. So this is how you mean to play it, Judge Gavel. You're hoping Mr. Gusto will help you hide what happened instead of trying to correct the record. I believe only in the infallible judgments of the Goddess of Judgment. Except it is us humans who make the actual judgment calls in a court of law. And so long as there are those who would use the law to their advantage, our rulings are fallible indeed. If you would use your position to further obscure the truth, then neither she nor I will forgive you. Haha, we shall see about that. What do you advise, Judge Gavel? It would seem that you are under suspicion because it is you who triggered the poison gas. Specifically by opening the Pisces case lid. Would you be so kind as to share why? Understood. I came to see Frost sculpture, simple as that. I made a mistake with the opening times and arrived half an hour early. Miss Bound, was there no one at the reception desk around that time? I had left the main entrance unguarded and unlocked just in case the killer made an appearance. I was also busy making preparations elsewhere. So no, there was no one here on the first floor then. But I did make sure that all the wings were locked up tight. All except the Autumn Wing. She did all that just to steer the culprit into the Autumn Wing, which is precisely where Mr. Gusto went. Sneaking into a building's pretty suspicious however you slice it. Silence in the courtroom! I will permit no objections or interventions unless there is some evidence that the witness is lying. You know, this is an art gallery, right? Mr. Gusto. If you could please continue by explaining why you opened it. I wanted to see Frost's work up close, so I went up to the Gemini. Sorry, guess it was supposed to be the Pisces statue. And I saw that the lid was frozen on tight, so I grabbed a blowtorch and tried to open it. When I finally got it open, gas came pouring out. That's so suspicious to grab a blowtorch and open it up. Fascinating. His is the work of flawless testimony attorneys can only dream of. The everything sounds like a lie kind. I am none too satisfied with Mr. Gusto's explanation myself. Alas, there was no evidence to refute it. Come on, there must be something. It's Bound's store you should be questioning, not mine. I'm not the one who set up the gas trap. She could have killed anybody with that thing. Yeah, anybody with a blowtorch who opened up a freaking... She turned on the sprinklers as soon as the gas was released. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was gunning for the killer and nobody else. This is complicated, Shugraz, but 18 years ago, they're saying that 18 years ago, this guy killed the old... He killed an ice sculpture from 18 years ago. So basically, he killed this guy. This was him 18 years ago, and that was the victim 18 years ago. And now, in the present day, the body of the guy on the left was found, preserved, by the art gallery owner. The art gallery owner loved the guy who was prosecuted and convicted, and she wanted to catch the real killer all these years later. That's I'm leaving out a lot of steps involved, but that's basically it. It was in the ice sculpture, yeah. The body was hidden inside this Gemini sculpture, and because of this luminous cloth that can have different colors reflected on it, it obscured the body, and while it was frozen, it made it look like Gemini. How do you set up poison if the lid was unopenable? You set up the poison because these two ingredients, ubiquium and asphyxium, when mixed together, they create a poison gas, and when he used the blowtorch, it bursted open, and the poison gas was released. It's actually fun for you guys to ask me questions, because it helps me think about the case more. You believe this self-professed criminal. Yeah, and the girl hit it not knowing the body was in there, which is really sad. That's the really tragic thing. By taking those ice sculptures away, she hid the body, which probably could have led to the man's innocence. To the man who was wrongfully convicted. But so will Mr. Frost's killer. You seem determined to pin Frost's murder on me, but I had no reason to kill him. And you have no evidence to prove otherwise. Can we really not prove that he's the killer, Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Gusto fell victim to the poison gas. That's indisputable. And no matter how suspicious his actions in the present may seem, they prove nothing about the past. Yeah, but then what about you, Mr. Fender? There must be something we can do. You're right. We may not have evidence, but we have plenty of intel. Let's see now. If Gusto killed Frost, he must have had a reason. I'm thinking the motive was probably... The motive was probably to get the cookbook. That's why I suspected... This case is so complicated. Because the prize back in the day was this ultimate cookbook that contains a lot of pharmaceutical items. I believe that she was the real culprit because she was the one who was hired to get the cookbook back. Your old man had a little back and forth with Von Karma about probable motive too, remember? How can you possibly say that with any certainty? If their relationship had broken down for some reason. This could very well have been the motive behind the murder. So true, Cowbell. Von Karma wouldn't let us talk to Gusto back then. If we can put the pieces together, I think the picture we've been looking for might just emerge. And to think back over everything we know about the IS-7 incident, especially the questions that never got answered. And the finger marks? Were you the one wearing the gloves? Miss Scone denied the fingerprints on the frame were hers. But what if they were Mr. Gusto's? Perhaps he wanted to take a look through the ultimate cookbook. Yup. So he asked me to go put in a new cartridge. He seemed to think there should have been more shots left than there were. Oh! Were the extra shots of the ultimate cookbook? Oh, that's interesting. I thought Bound took those shots, but maybe Bound lost track of them? He thought maybe he lost track along the way. My father noticed these things for a reason. In the absence of evidence, it's the only way to the truth. What? Really? There's no... What? Are you serious? The motive in the cookbook? Oh, wait. Here we go. Mr. Gusto, you and Mr. Frost conspired to create works for the contest together. Huh, so you know my little secret. Mr. Fender was kind enough to inform me. Mr. Frost was in charge of the designs while you were in charge of the flavor. Is that correct? Huh. What can I say? I still had a long way to travel on the road to becoming a master. But you only collaborated up until the semifinal. Something changed after that. We both wanted to show what we could do, show we were better than Tangaroa. Then why did you help Frost with his entry for the final? What grounds do you have to say that? Your own statement made to Mr. Von Karma 18 years ago. You told him that you had been working together right up until the day before the final. Mr. Frost's entry was carved entirely from blocks of flavored ice. Ice which would have needed at least a day to freeze. And whose flavors would therefore have already been prepared by Gusto. Huh. Yes, which lines up perfectly with what Gusto told me. That he helped Frost up until the day before the final. Yeah, that's Von Karma straight up. And that was Gregory Edgeworth on the left, yep. In that case, why didn't Mr. Frost reciprocate and help Mr. Gusto? I can hardly be expected to read the minds of the dead. So why didn't Mr. Frost help you in return, I submit that your relationship broke down for some reason. And that became the basis of your motive for murder. Huh. That's not how it was. Sure, we stopped working together, but it was all perfectly friendly. You stopped working together in a friendly way? Kinda hard to imagine. Besides, how do you think I did it exactly? You think I just strolled into Tangaroa's room and killed Frost? I couldn't have killed the man while Tangaroa was in there working on his chocolate pieces. Gusto couldn't have killed Frost with Tangaroa in his room. So you see, it couldn't have been me. I wouldn't be so sure. There must be a window of time when Tangaroa wasn't in his room, and if I can prove that, I can prove that Gusto had the opportunity. Taking pictures of the cookbook? Photographing the cookbook's contents would be the perfect way to steal its secrets. And what if Mr. Gusto did just that? What if he did use the camera to photograph the book? It'd be a perfect crime. So much better than stealing it and getting chased by the cops. A sneaky snapshot or 20, huh? That could work. The only question is, when would he have done it? Good question. What about during the afternoon tea? Didn't Delicia say that Gusto and Frost had missed out on the little tea party? Which brings me to the next question. When do we know for certain that Frost was still alive? Then after the contest began, nobody saw hide nor hair of Frost. And the only person capable of entering his locked room was Tangaroa, possessing as he did the only key. Miss Scone, were Mr. Tangaroa's works the only ones you sampled? No, dear, I couldn't help myself. When I finished my afternoon tea, I tiptoed over to Chillywink's room. Mr. Frost had kept to himself inside his room after the contest had started. But he was gone by the time Miss Scone snuck in, meaning there's a good chance he was murdered before the end of afternoon tea. We can be sure that Mr. Frost was alive until the beginning of afternoon tea, making tea time the only window during which Gusto could have killed him. Are you satisfied with Mr. Gusto's story now, Mr. Edgeworth? Sadly, I'm afraid I'm still rather unsatisfied. But things are finally starting to become clear and the truth will come to light at last. Do you mean to say that you have uncovered new evidence? Evidence, no. I was hoping I might convince Mr. Gusto to open up to us about it instead. Oh, is it mind games time again? It is. Mr. Gusto, I have a question for you. I said I have a question for you. What is it? You chose to make your entry for the final on your own. I told you I wanted to test it myself. I wanted to prove I was the best.
Objection!
If that was the case, then you surely wouldn't have chosen to cheat in the first place. Why did you feel the need to team up with Frost? Media bang bang. Oh, let's do some chess. Let's go. 18 years ago, Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost collaborated. But why did they work together, and why did they enter the contest in the first place? That's the information I need to get out of my opponent somehow. Oh, he's got 4 pieces. Mr. Gusto seems to have a habit of pretending to be asleep when things aren't going his way. Let's focus on why he chose to work with Mr. Frost. Mind chess commence. Mr. Gusto, what inspired you to collaborate with Frost? We were acquaintances before we were contestants. He was interested in entering the contest, so we decided to sign up together. And your decision to pair up with a sculptor had nothing to do with your lack of faith in your skills? You don't know me. Why join forces? Because we want to make the most perfect creations possible. I will expose all your lies in the end, Mr. Gusto. It's only a matter of time. Oh. Wanted to see if I could do an impression of you. Okay, so I should attack while he's sleeping, I guess? Okay. I should attack while he sleeps. Frost's son and mine were in the same grade at school. So we got along pretty well, too. Oh, so you were just 2 friends who happened to try for the title of World's Greatest Confectioner. Pretending to be asleep while the going gets tough won't work on me, I'm afraid. Mr. Frost was a sculptor, Mr. Gusto. I doubt he cared much about winning a title for confectioners. In which case, he probably had a different motive for taking part in the contest, wouldn't you say? Fine, it was me. I wanted that title. Frost was only in it for the prize, the ultimate cookbook. I see. And since your objectives dovetailed so neatly, you decided to work together. But then something happened, a breakdown in your relationship, perhaps. If so, I want to know why. Mr. Prosecutor, I'm still quite unwell after my brush with death. Push me too hard, and I'll be on my way back to the medical room. No, wait! Then you better wrap this up quickly. I'm already dangerously low on patience. Mr. Gusto is trying desperately to make his escape, but he's not going anywhere yet. Not as long as he's still keeping things from me. What was he really after? No time to lose. I need to pick the right lines of questioning. You had your eyes on something other than the title, didn't you? After all, I'm not sure the title of World's Greatest Confectioner even counts for that much. Now you're insulting the way of the confectioner. My goal, my only goal, was to win that title. I didn't care about anything else. You have no idea how much it would have meant to me. Look, my sense of design may not have been up to snuff back then, but you should see me now. Oh, so you've improved. You bet I have. I didn't do all that training in Zhang Fa for nothing. I looked up to Tangaroa, you know. Spent hours poring over the designs of his work. Even used to watch his show with my son. Oh! Sounds like it was especially influential. And with his recipe book, you might even have become the best someday. Huh. Maybe. The book was a real treasure, no doubt about that. Any confectioner would have wanted it. Heh. You claim that your only goal was to win the title. Yet you also seem to have had an interest in the contest prize, the ultimate cookbook. Ugh. The greatest collection of recipes by the world's greatest confectioner. I can't say I had absolutely no interest in it. And even if I did, what exactly is so wrong with that? Nothing, I suppose, except that conflicts with your friends. The book contained recipes for medicines, not desserts. And everyone who entered the contest supposedly knew that. I feel like I'm finally getting somewhere. I can't let him slip from my grasp now. I just need to stay calm and keep the pressure on. Next, let's find out why he wanted the cookbook. Did you know how valuable the cookbook really was? What kind of question is that? It was a collection of Tangaroa's recipes. There wasn't a confectioner in the world who wouldn't have wanted to get their hands on it. It's just, I don't have a clue as to how to proceed with this. I better try another tack. So your plan was to win the cookbook and use it to help you with your own creations. What else? A book like that would have improved my crap tenfold. You could have made a lot of money if you'd sold it. I don't know much about what was actually in there. It's like a type of dessert maker, Thunderstone. It was worth more than money, I'll tell you that. Come now, Mr. Gusto. I think you know more about the Ultimate Cookbook than you claim. They told us a little about it at the start of the contest. Then you know about the kinds of recipes it actually contained, don't you? And that they weren't dessert recipes at all. I see you did your homework. Fine, so you know what was really in there. The Ultimate Cookbook, or the Angel's Cookbook, to give it its proper title. It's a collection of chemical formulas and ways to synthesize new medicines nobody's ever heard of. So he did know the cookbook actually contained recipes. This could be an important clue. Time to deploy my clue. Your designs may have improved thanks to your training, but you clearly didn't do enough work on your skills of deception. You've already admitted that you knew the Ultimate Cookbook was a collection of recipes. Thereby making your interest not gastronomical, but pharmaceutical. You're a confectioner, Mr. Gusto. You had no professional interest in revolutionary new medicines, which suggests that your interest must have been personal. I underestimated you. Fine, you're right. Winning the title wasn't the only reason I entered. I needed one of the recipes in that book. It was for my son. He was sick. He was. Tell me more. That's none of your business. I've told you as much as you need to know. He looks rattled, but I can't let him off the hook. Let's find out what his mystery illness was. I've almost gotten to the bottom of this. I can feel it. Tell us a little more about your son. He was my pride and joy, my biggest fan. And you entered the contest in order to help him. You clearly don't have children of your own. Any father would have done the same. I would have done anything to help him. Anything! He would come to see me here at the contest venue too, right up to the semifinal. Really? He didn't get in the way of your work? If you were trying to beat Samson Tangaroa, surely you didn't have time to look after a child. Yeah, well, I wanted to do what I could for him. He said he wanted to always be the first to try my creations. Huh. I'm still recovering, so if you got nothing to say, let me go back to the medical room. Okay. Okay. We gotta be more proactive. Can't just be meditating. Oh, I just messed up again. Whoops. Uh-oh. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. You said your son was sick, Mr. Gusto, and yet he was able to come and join you for the contest? Huh. It wasn't that kind of illness. Nothing life-threatening anyway. This feels like it could be an important clue. So you needed the cookbook to cure your son? Nowadays, you can get the medication you need anywhere. But back then, that book was our only hope. Which is why I didn't dare waste my time on fancy tea parties. I had to give my all to my work. What about Mr. Tangaroa's work? Surely that tea break gave you the perfect opportunity to go steal a glance at it. And what makes you think I had the energy or time to care about what the others made? Yikes, yikes, yikes. This is tough. I think you've made it abundantly clear how much interest you had in Mr. Tangaroa's work. What's more, if you were that determined to win the ultimate cookbook, I seriously doubt you would have passed on a chance to peek at your competitors' entries. I had plenty of chances throughout the contest to see and sample my rival's works, you know. But each time I did, nothing seemed to have any flavor. Must have been nerves or something. Nothing Gusto tasted had any flavor. Could you tell me the name of the disease your son suffered from? You're a real cold customer, Mr. Prosecutor. Isn't it enough he was seriously ill? Why would you force me to tell me more? You've already shared with me that your son's illness wasn't life-threatening. So why are you so reluctant to share any further details? It may not have been life-threatening, but that doesn't mean it wasn't life-altering. It must have been very hard on both of you. Of course it was. That was why I did everything I could to find a cure. We were desperate. He couldn't taste anything, not even his favorite desserts. As I understand it, the Ultimate Cookbook contains the recipe for a very particular medication. One that Tangaroa used to cure himself of his own taste disorder. So he had it too. Two, you say? So your son had a taste disorder then, am I correct? How did I let that slip? You've been asking me to believe that you needed to win the cookbook in order to cure your son. But was that really the case? Of course it was. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm not sure that's true based on everything you've told me. Time to deploy my clue. Taste disorders are difficult to live with. It isn't easy not being able to enjoy your food. You should know, after all. You just told me that you'd experienced something like that during the contest. You said nothing you sampled had any flavor, which would make it seem to suggest you were suffering from a taste disorder. A confectioner without a sense of taste, not exactly ideal. Are you sure it wasn't actually your own condition you were seeking a cure for, Mr. Gusto? I've had enough of your speculations. I managed just fine in that contest, made all my own entries. But you didn't. Sorry, but I'm afraid you're contradicting your own testimony. You already admitted that you and Mr. Frost had worked together. It's too late to claim you did it on your own now. Ugh. You would have us believe that you were a man of principle, a dedicated student of the confectioner's art. Yet you abandoned those principles and conspired with Mr. Frost to rig the contest. All so you could cure your own taste disorder. You got me, Mr. Prosecutor. As you said, my sense of taste was shot. My son's was fine. I kept it hidden for so long, 18 years, and nobody knew. Sadly, you can lie to others, but you can't lie to me. Both Gusto and Frost entered the contest hoping to obtain the ultimate cookbook. For the medicine that would cure Gusto's disorder and the money it would bring in for Mr. Frost. Thus an uneasy alliance was forged. And that, I believe, is checkmate. Woo! I'll admit it. You're good. I never told anybody about any of this, but you figured it out anyway. It's true. 18 years ago, I developed agusia. Agusia? It's a taste disorder that makes it so you can't taste anything at all. A confectioner's worst nightmare. Mr. Fender, is that what Mr. Tangaroa had as well? No, the big man had what they called dissociated taste disorder. Basically, some things you could taste just fine, while others had no flavor at all. Hey, Unfunny, nice to see you so early. So he suffered too. Can't have been easy. Not when there wasn't a way to cure it on the market. It's so good, Thunderstone. It's so good. And you haven't, man, Thunderstone, you haven't even seen the start of it. This has been a long case. This has been a long but good case. It was only one of the reasons. I wasn't lying when I said I wanted the title. When I put my mind to something, it gets done and I won't lose to anybody. I may not have been able to taste it then, but I still knew my stuff was good enough to win. Oh, so you went to the final thinking you stood a good chance of winning. Of course. What was it that Fender said about what Tangaroa thought of Gusto's creations? Gusto's creations were a perfect balance of flavor and design, at least up through the semi-final. But disappointingly, his entry for the final was subpar on both counts. We were told that your entry for the final was far from the prize-winning taste sensation. What happened, Mr. Gusto? What went wrong that day? Fine. You want me to talk, I'll talk, but you're not gonna like what I have to say. Frost and I were working together right through the semifinal. I handled the flavor, he did the designing. But I wanted to face Tanjiro in the final on my own. No help, just me and my skills. I helped Frost with his entry, but mine I did alone. If it didn't taste good, that's on me. What can I say? I lack training. And that's all there is to it. Happy now? There don't seem to be any obvious contradictions. Yep, not that I thought it'd be easy to get anything real out of him. He's managed to not let slip what happened for 18 years after all. Why don't you try pushing him a bit, Malzarino? I think I might just have to, Fender. Frost and I were working together right through the semifinal.
Hold it!
Frost was in charge of designing the work you both submitted while you handled the taste? Yeah, he was a sculptor, a craftsman, and his sense of design was second to none. But it was clues about confectionery. So true, Shingo. The old man. Wow, how do you like me now? The national symbol of Zhengfa. Oh yeah, it's a phoenix. That's awesome. I'll say, pretty different to the stuff you were pumping out 18 years ago. Behold the fruits of my training. I've dedicated my whole life to my craft. Back then, we both needed each other's help, so we joined hands until the final. And I wanted to face Tanjiro on my own.
Hold it!
You were serious about winning the title then? Of course! The art of confectionery is my life. Why wouldn't I want to be crowned the greatest? But I still had a lot to learn back then. Guess it's no surprise my work wasn't up to scratch. But the title wasn't the only thing you wanted. There was the cookbook, too. And you wanted the book even more than you wanted the title.
Overruled.
Mr. Edgeworth, you are badgering a witness who is still suffering the effects of today's attack. I cannot allow this harassment to continue. I understand, Your Honor, but ignore Mr. Gusto. You need not answer that vile prosecutor's question. But please do continue your testimony in your own time. Help Frost with his entry, but mine I did alone. You're saying Frost didn't want to help you at all. But he'd help you up until then, correct? It's a bit strange for him to stop so late in the contest. Strange or not, it's the truth. Could be he had his reasons too, I wouldn't know. If he's lying, it's gonna be a headache to prove. 18 years is a long time. Not unless that gizmo of yours has a built-in lie detector, Kay. If it did, I'd have stolen the show from Edgeworth long before now. Don't worry, Fender. I can tell when he's lying. Please, Mr. Gusto, continue. It didn't taste good in the final, that's on me. What can I say? And yet, I heard that your creations prior to the final were scored highly for their flavor. So what went wrong? Was there some kind of cooking accident? No, nothing like that. It was, I told you, I had a taste disorder. My sense of taste failed me. It's as simple as that. But Mr. Frost's entry was complimented on its flavor. Your sense of taste hadn't failed you then. Did something happen overnight? I don't think he's gonna spill any more beans, Mr. Edgeworth. I should ask him about something else. Did something change between the semifinal and the final? Not really. The only difference between the semifinal and the final was that Frost wasn't helping me.
Hold it!
So you really completed your final entry without Frost's help. I may not have had the designs to lean on, but I knew I was still solid when it came to flavor. The visuals were the only thing that changed. You sure, Gusty, old pal? Gonna have to call you out on that one, I'm afraid. It wasn't just his looks that got a big thumbs down. They got trashed on flavor, too. Doesn't sound like much of a winner to me. A lack of Frost assistance shouldn't have affected that. His dad wasn't, or his son wasn't there. His son wasn't there, so maybe the son was the prodigy? Maybe his son was the prodigy?
Objection!
Nailed it. I can think of one significant difference between the semifinal and the final, Mr. Gusto, your son. This is him in the photograph, correct? You told me he was here with you up until the semifinal. He was. What of it? What indeed? He was here with you up until the semifinal, until he suddenly wasn't there for it. And just as suddenly, your work went from being lauded for its flavor to being lambasted. Yeah, Shingo. I don't think that's a coincidence, do you? He wasn't just spending quality time with his father. He was playing a much more pivotal role. I just wanted him to see me hard at work, to show him I was trying my best. Who knows, maybe it was him being here that helped me do so well. He talks a good game, but nothing about this guy screams super dad to me. Indeed, truthfully, we would have only to give an idea of credence if his story were true. After all, how much could the encouragement of one small boy affect a grown man's work? He must have had a tough time maintaining his high standards after such a devastating loss. I'm sure your son was there to cheer you on, but that wasn't all he was there to do, was it? You're a very suspicious man, Mr. Prosecutor. What was an elementary school kid doing here? Oh, to taste him, okay. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. So it's possible he could have been a prodigy. Your son knew the taste of your work pretty well, I imagine. He was my biggest fan, of course he knew it. In which case he would have been a good judge of whether something tasted on brand, so to speak. What are you implying? You've already told us that you were suffering from a taste disorder. I could boil an egg too, Jet Mike. Hey, nice to meet you, by the way. I'll admit you're good. Jet Mike, are you a big Ace Attorney fan? It's true. 18 years ago, I developed agusia, or I don't know how to pronounce that. No one knew about your condition. Indeed, I doubt Mr. Frost would have wanted to continue collaborating with you. After all, it was your job to make sure his creations tasted good. So I've played them all except for the Great Ace Attorney games. And I don't know if you've played the fan translation of this. I certainly haven't. This is new to me. But do you have a favorite game or a favorite case that maybe aren't in this game? Also, maybe you can appreciate my background. He was helping my taste testing your work. In a little bit, maybe I'll show you the background more. Dang. Now it all makes sense. Frost's stuff tasted good because it really was finished from the day before the kid was there. You have a vivid imagination, Mr. Prosecutor. Seriously, I'd trust a kid to tell me how to adjust my taste. I have some pride, you know. Even back then. Did you now? Whoops. My designs may not have been much to write home about. You think I'd risk everything by putting my reputation in the hands of... Oh, man. Trials and Tribulations, my Bridge to the Turnabout, and the one right before that with young Edgeworth and young Mia. Ooh. This is just more speculation. That's all it is. In that case, I ask to speak with your son this instant. Let's see how much of your story he can corroborate. Sadly for you, my son is no longer my concern. What? As soon as I got my sense of taste back, I went straight to Zhang Fa. And to cut off all ties with the kid for good. You abandoned your own child? And that ain't the half of it. No one knows where he is, even now. The cops have looked all over for him, but no dice. So still think you can prove your asinine theory? I'd like to see you try. You think I care about anything besides confectionery? Think again. I got my sense of taste back. What need do I have for a son? Wow. Silence in the courtroom. While Mr. Gusto's words and actions may demonstrate a lack of humanity on his part, the goddess of justice cannot judge him for that. Therefore, Mr. Edgeworth, I believe it is time for you to admit defeat. Yeah, give it up. 18 years is a long time. Mr. Edgeworth, we have to do something. If we don't, the truth might be lost forever. Where are you, Detective Gumshoe? Can't imagine whose blood it could possibly be. I'm gonna taste... Oh, wow. Yeah, that was the contradiction. Waiting on Gumshoe. Once we know whose blood it is. Hey, Miles, sorry to cut in on your Mind Palace time, but I was pondering something myself. Our friend Gusto didn't come here just to check up on the body, did he? You mean because he tried to open the case? Exactamundo. Think we have anything that might explain why he tried to do that? That's quite enough idle chatter, Defense. Now if you... Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Sorry to keep you waiting! Speak of the devil. Good job, Gumshoe. I take it you have the test results, Detective. Yes, sir! The lab just got back to me. Detective, please. Court is in session. Now then, am I right to assume that you are bringing us the evidence Mr. Edgeworth was just speaking of? What? Hey, no fair! Why didn't you tell me about this? It is indeed the evidence in question, Your Honor. It needed testing, so I asked him to carry it out. What the? Why is everyone always helping you? I'm supposed to be the one in charge here. Mr. Winner, I'm sorry I didn't involve you, but this is important. Can we at least hear what the detective has to say? Well, alright. What do the test results have to tell you? You're not gonna believe this, but the owner of the blood we found in the liquid? Gusto, the victim of the poison gas attack. What are you talking about? Thank you, Detective. You've been very helpful. Well, looks like my suspicions were correct. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, what do you mean? Hey, Emilio, hello. What is the significance of the blood to the case? He got attacked back? The very thing the perpetrator of the IS-7 incident's been trying to hide. The fact that your blood was found inside the Gemini case is as good as finding your blood lying right next to Mr. Frost's body.
Overruled.
Why would there be traces of your blood there, of all places? If you won't answer Her Honor, Mr. Gusto, then I will. There wasn't just blood. There were traces of salt and sugar, too. And if you remember, one particular part of Mr. Frost's work was allegedly very salty indeed. Oh yeah. You're talking about what Delicia told us back then, right? The lyre, the strings of the harp. Hey there, Fuse Hunter! Scrumptious except for the salty bit, of course. There was some unbearable salty bits. And the other photo you've got there. Gemini's lyre. Yes, the lyre, and only the lyre, tasted as if it had been flavored with salt. There were no traces of salt anywhere else in Mr. Frost's entry. Very interesting. Then perhaps you can tell us, Mr. Edgeworth. Where did the salt in the lyre come from?
Take that!
This is the lamp from the IS-7? Indeed, and I believe that the salt that gave the lyre its flavor came from such a lamp. Mr. Von Karma had established that both salt lamps were in Mr. Tangaroa's room at the scene of the crime. One of them was used to kill Mr. Frost, and it was stained with his blood. But no corresponding pool of blood was found in Tangaroa's room. Right, because the culprit had chucked a piece of chocolate with that into the little stream. Furthermore, aside from the lyre, no traces of salt were found anywhere else. Hey, come to think of it, the lamps we found in Delicia's room were both broken. The lamps appear to be broken. Bulbs are smashed. Both of them. Maybe they fell and broke on the floor? We never did figure out how the one that wasn't used to kill Frost got busted, but are we thinking maybe it was Gusto's blood on it at some point? Anyone whose blood was found on the lamps would have been a person of interest to the police. So the killer needed to hide the blood somehow, and in a way that wouldn't arouse suspicion. Frost blood. And you're seriously suggesting the lyre was used to do that? Yeah, he really does, Suru. And I liked it in this game. I felt like in the first game he was pretty incompetent, but in this one he's a lot more helpful. Unlike the fountain water, the sculptors would have need more time. And so we waited and waited for his chance to dispose of the lyre undetected. And the reason he's here today is 18 years ago, Mr. Frost's body and the evidence pointing to his killer were taken away. This, of course, was not part of the perpetrator's plan, and thus a new dilemma arose. How could he be sure that neither Frost's body nor the evidence wouldn't be discovered someday? So he comes back 18 years later, sneaking in bright and early. Well, Mr. Gusto, are you finally ready to admit it? That you are the one responsible for IS-7? Mr. Gusto, it's all because of you that Samson... Gusto. So if I finally got caught, huh? All these years later. Nobody came close back then, not even the big shot prosecutor or the attorney. That's some impressive work, Mr. Prosecutor. I've got to hand it to you. You admit it then, that you murdered Artie Frost. Sure I do. I did it, I killed him. But he only had himself to blame. What do you mean by that? He agreed to help me. We were supposed to help each other so one of us could win. And whoever won was supposed to let the other use the cookbook. But on the day of the final, the rat finally showed his true colors. Seriously, Frost, we had a deal! Sorry, I'm not helping you in the final. Our little agreement is over, Gusto. But I helped you! I spent all day making the ice for your pieces! Did you? And you can prove that, I suppose? What do you... Wait, you were planning to betray me right from the start, weren't you? After Frost double-crossed me, I had to make my piece for the final by myself. And like you said, my son wasn't there, so I didn't have any help with the flavor either. So much for the pride you claim to have in your ability. Go ahead and judge. You have no idea what it was like for someone like me to lose my sense of taste. I gave up everything to become the best. Everything! I take pride in that. Someone like you could never understand. Do you take pride in the fact you resorted to murder? A man can't afford to rely on other people. I learned that the hard way 18 years ago. My son never showed up for the day of the final. And in hindsight, I wouldn't be surprised if Frost was the reason why. Why would you think that? How am I supposed to know? I told you he's none of my concern anymore. But according to you guys, nobody knows where he is now either. And you don't care? You're horrible! So with his disappearance, so too went your chances of winning. Yeah, I had to find another way of getting my hands on that book. That's when inspiration struck. I decided to skip afternoon tea and sneak into Tangaroa's room. It should have been so easy. All I had to do was photograph the formulas I needed and get out. But then Frost showed up. Wow. I thought I might find you in here. Stealing recipes from the famous cookbook. Toot toot toot. Frost. What's this? A cure for taste disorders? Oh no, that's just too tragic. A confectioner who can't taste anything. What will people say? If you tell anybody, I'll... Ugh! Yo, what? You can't even hit me, you miserable worm. Why you? Frost shoved me hard when I went to punch him. Knocked me clean off my feet. I crashed into one of the lamps. Must have been when my blood got on it. So Frost wasn't the first to get hurt. When it was all over, I realized I had to get rid of that blood somehow, so I scraped it all off the bloodied bits. Frost was gonna blackmail me. He would have made me give him money to keep quiet about my condition. So you decided you had to kill him? Yeah, I guess I did. Why would I let him live? Would you want someone like that holding something like that over your head? Besides, he's the one who drew first blood. Makes for a solid case of self-defense. So that was the impetus behind it all. Anyway, I initially took the lamp to Frost's room. Went straight there once I figured out how to hide the bloody part. Inspired by the ice sculpting tools lying around the place, I guess. You're not as dumb as you pretend to be. Yeah, I figured I could use them to chip it off and grind it up. Once I was done, painting the stuff over the harp was easy. But why Samson? Why did you have to frame him? I never meant for the cops to pin it on him. That was your fault. You and the rest of them. Wow. Why do you think I went to the trouble of placing the lamps and cloths back in Scone's room? There's only one reason to plant the murder weapon in the room of another contestant. And that's to cast suspicion on that person. What? You tried to frame me? Yeah. But why? I respected Tangaroa. He was the best, a true champion. I would never have wanted him to take the fall. This is so cool. This is such a cool twist. I love this. But you're a fraud. Your work wasn't even real. You had no respect for our craft at all. You deserve to be punished for what you did. And you had refrained from eating Tangaroa's work? Had you refrained from eating it, Frost's body would have been found. My plan was to wait until Tangaroa was judging your room. That's when I'd sneak the corpse in a Frost room and freeze it. But thanks to you, Bound here found it before I had a chance to retrieve it. I don't understand. Why'd you need to freeze his body at all? Ha! Why indeed. Mr. Edgeworth, surely you must know. Why did Mr. Gusto need to freeze the body? Mr. Gusto needed to freeze the frost body in order to obscure the time of death. If they determined the murder occurred during afternoon tea, he would have been an obvious suspect. Bingo. Freezing frost body wasn't simple. Preparing everything took time. I decided to put his body in the chest in Tangaroa's room. At the time, it seemed like the perfect hiding place. Never counted on some gluttonous pharmacist showing up and making the whole ship collapse. I don't get it, though. Why disguise the body as an ice sculpture at all? The sooner it was found, the smaller the effect of freezing it would have had on masking the time of death. Therefore, he needed to disguise it, at least until it had fully frozen. How awful. Using Mr. Frost's body. Ironically, Tangaroa would have been just fine if the body hadn't been found before I got it out of his room. If only things had gone to plan, he wouldn't have even been arrested, let alone convicted. You mean it was my fault? Everything that happened to Samson? It was all because I found the body? So sad. Don't let it get inside your head, Judes. None of this is your fault. If it wasn't Samson, it would have been Delicia instead. She would have been the one they arrested. Either way, there's only one person to blame here, and that's Gusto. Didn't help that the initial detective was so bad at his job either. He never even told the prosecutor the body had vanished. So then Mr. Von Karma had unwittingly placed Mr. Tangaroa under arrest in the absence of a body? I mean, I guess it would explain why he was so keen to wrap things up. Still, you'd think he'd notice something as big as that if he'd taken a look at a few reports, right? Not if someone had been deliberately distorting the facts of the case, though. Either way, it seems Mr. Von Karma didn't know about the body until after the arrest had been made. But admitting that would have spoiled his perfect record. So he kept it to himself and proceeded to prosecute Mr. Tangaroa regardless. Can this really be true? You don't feel bad at all? Sticks and stones, girlie. Sticks and stones. What a jerk. I'd arrest you right now, pal. I'm afraid I can't allow you to do that, detective. So you noticed, huh? Glad somebody did. The judge is right. You can't lay a finger on me. Sorry, buddy. You trained in Jingfa. We can. No idea, huh? Then I guess I better lay it out for you. Statute of limitations, huh? Hey there, Bloody Coffee. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know what the fan translation name is, but that's interesting. I killed Frost 18 years ago. Statute of limitations for murder in this country is 15 years. You do the math, you can't arrest me. You think I'd have confessed otherwise? That's right. The statute of limitations is only 15 years. Is this really the end of the line, Mr. Edgeworth? Once the statute's expired, he can't be charged. But how unfortunate, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm afraid that both Mr. Gusto's confession and your deductions will have to be struck from the record. And Mr. Tangaroa's conviction will remain in place. We've finally proven the police never had Frost bodied in their possession! And if we can't arrest Gusto, surely Tangaroa has grounds for a retrial. Does he? I wouldn't be so sure. I'm afraid that the goddess's judgments are somewhat harder to overturn than you might imagine. So the committee means for the verdict from 18 years ago to stand no matter what? There must be something we can do. We can. Should I press it? I don't know if I should press it, because it's already the answer. Okay, I guess I gotta press more. I guess I have to press more. We knew that he trained in Zhangfa. Oh, his name was Jeff Masters instead of Samson Tangaroa. Like Chef Masters. Oh, that's actually really clever. This ought to be good. I got nothing to hide. If there's something you want to ask, ask it. Very well. Tell us where you've been and what you've been doing since the incident. Not long after the contest, I was able to cure my taste disorder. And not so long after that, I went to Zhangfa. That explains a lot. We tried to contact you after the fact, but I guess you were long gone by then. I left, let's see, around a year after the murder. There we go. Going to Zhangfa was the best thing I ever did.
Objection!
And all in the backs of those whose lives you destroyed. Was an omelet without a few eggs, huh? You're evil. Sticks and stones, girl. You can't arrest me, and that's all that matters. I'd like you to tell us more about your training in Zhangfa.
Objection!
There we go. The statute of limitations for murder is subject to the following condition. The statute is suspended should the suspect flee to a foreign country. Which means that the time you spend abroad doesn't count towards the total time under the statute. No way. So it's like someone hit pause while he was in Zhangfa? It appears that there may be time left on the clock yet. Well, that will depend on how long you stayed in Zhangfa. It was 3 years exactly. 3 years? Hold on. Nobody say anything until I've done the math. The murder happened 18 years back. The statute is 15 years. Add the 3 overseas. 15 plus 3 makes exactly 18. Mr. Edgeworth, you did it! The statute hasn't expired after all! I thought the same thing, Tomatoed. 18 years exactly. Glad you worked it out for yourself. He's just been stringing us along this whole time? Why is he laughing? We're good, aren't we? We can arrest him now. I hate to break it to you, little sis, but IS-7 went down at the end of December. It's April now, which means, strictly speaking, it's been 18 years and 4 months. If Gusto's saying Zhangfa really lasted 3 years on the nose, it's not enough. We're a few months short. Not enough, but... What I tell you, you can't touch me. How unfortunate, Mr. Edgeworth. If only the statute had been suspended for another year. Those who would overturn the goddess's judgment must be willing to pay the price, should they fail. And you, Mr. Edgeworth, have failed. There must be something I can do. Well, if the law can't bring Mr. Gusto to justice, then... Dudes, what are you thinking?
Objection!
There's no need to go adding to your rap sheet just yet. We're not done here, far from it, because there's still a way we can nail him. There is? Alright, Malzarino, pep talk. I need you to think back over everything we know about the case. Gusto's overlooked one critical thing you yourself were led to believe wrongly about. He wasn't there for Samson's last trial, remember? Best I can tell, he doesn't seem to know what the final verdict that came down was. Oh, the accomplice! Which means there's still one way left to us. Crack open your statutes for dummies there and take another look. 17 years ago, they really did a number on Samson. But if we make good use of that verdict now, we can still make Gusto pay in full price. Fender, are you? Those who would overturn the goddess's judgment must be willing to pay the price should they fail. Samson's my client, Miles. And I can't bring myself to use the source of his pain as a weapon in that fight. So whether we play our last card or not, it's gonna be up to you. This is so interesting. Bringing Mr. Gusto to justice can only happen if I use the outcome of that hard-earned trial. Oh, look at that. Gaiji, nice to meet you. You came at a great time, dude. So, should I raise an objection and play that card or not? Yes. My father and Mr. Von Karma. One sought to reveal the truth, the other to hide it. I know which path I choose to follow. The one that seeks to reveal the truth. court has reached its final verdict. Mr. Gusto has been found not guilty on all counts. No, Your Honor. Gusto was absolutely guilty. Oh, it's Sid! Your little brother's account. Oh, that's sweet. Oh. Oh, Rip Lacer is clever. Yeah, I like that kitten. I feel like the fans did a good job. They did a good job picking some fun names. Now to show Judge Gavel something that shows the statue hasn't yet expired.
Take that!
Very well. Is there a particular page of the IS-7 cage you would like us to refer to? Uh-oh. I should have looked at this more. Yeah, I guess the first page, maybe? Uh-oh, wait, whoops. The fact that there was it the accomplice parts? No? Uh-oh. Yikes. Well, I got everything gone. Almost Christmas means it wasn't... Okay, now I get your joke, you guys. I just understood that. Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. Oh, gosh. It's that and step letters. Okay, well, I fumbled my way to that. Direct your attention to the page concerning the suspect. As you can see, Samson Tangaroa was convicted as an accomplice. And it took around 1 year for his indictment for that verdict to be reached. The book you gave us details certain conditions pertaining to the statute of limitations for murder. One of them, as I mentioned, is that the statute is suspended if the suspect flees the country. And another states that the statute is suspended from the time of any accomplice's indictment. What? Tangaroa was convicted as an accomplice? Yep. Guess you were in Zhangfa when the verdict came down. Samson was convicted as an accomplice, not as the main perpetrator. Which is clearly news to you, and not good news either, am I right? But how can that be? Tangaroa was an accomplice to anyone who was innocent, you know it, Oh, we know it. It's what we've been trying to prove all along. And in a pleasing twist of fate, his wrongful conviction will be the very last thing that sets him free. If you spent 3 years in Zhangfa, and your accomplice, Samson Tangaroa, was on trial for 1 year, that means you can still be charged with Frost's murder up to 19 years after the fact. In other words, the statute of limitations hasn't expired at all! The goddess's judgment is infallible, but one of her servants, it appears, is not. The prosecutor in charge of this case may have erred. Unbelievably, we may have no choice but to instigate a full inquiry. She is so interesting. When it comes to the law, she'll instantly swap sides. She will instantly swap sides if it comes to the law. She is actually truly as lawful as it gets. Maybe lawful evil, I don't know, but very lawful. Time to pay the piper, Gusto, and not a moment too soon. But I'm finally the greatest. My brilliance has been recognized. I gave up everything for this, everything. More's the pity, but you can't run for the law forever because the bills come due at last. I can't wait to see this. Yeah, lawful neutral. Probably not lawful evil. I think lawful neutral. You're right. You're right, you guys. True lawful neutral. You're right. I'm sorry, not evil. Evil's too mean. I suppose so. Judes. I'm so sorry, everybody. I've caused you all so much trouble. But thank you. Thank you so much for bringing Mr. Gusto to justice at last. I'm afraid there's no escaping the consequences of your action, Ms. Bound. But those actions were born of the legal mistakes that were made all those years ago. We all know that. So allow me to apologize in return on behalf of the prosecution. Oh no, I have no one to blame but myself for it all. Starting with those sculptures. Hey, Judes, you think maybe you might want me to represent you? I'm not some nervous newbie anymore. And there's no way I'm letting you take the rap for everything. Oh. Oh, I'd be honored. Thank you, Mr. Fender. Oh, that actually... I'm kind of tearing up a little bit myself. That's really sweet. That's really sweet. I ship him. I ship him hard. I ship him hard. Of course. Judge Gabel, why did you lie to us? Ooh. Lie? What are you talking about? You implied that there was no case for a retrial, but as we've proven, that wasn't true. Surely anyone truly committed to seeing justice done would have called for one as soon as the body was found. Wow. I am under no obligation to answer such questions. And you clearly have no intention of doing so either. Truly, you are proving to be quite a threat to the Committee for Prosecutorial Excellence. As such, you give me little choice but to report back on your continued transgressions. No doubt you will be called to appear before the committee in due course. Now, I must be on my way. What the heck? And after you caught the real killer and everything? Isn't that what prosecutors are supposed to do? Regardless of how it may all play out, I will never regret what we accomplished here today. Mr. Edgeworth. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth! Yes? Why did you stick your nose in this case anyway? You weren't even on the job! My job is to bring the truth to light, Mr. Winner. Not only as a prosecutor, but as a person. I don't get it. I wouldn't expect you to understand, not as long as you believe that closing a case makes you a winner. That's the way that Edgeworth used to think. That's the way Edgeworth used to think, which is why I love that, like, the inheritor to Von Karma, in a way. I mean, not really, but, like, obviously Von Karma wants perfection, but in a way, Eustace's, like, ideology is kind of like a Von Karma, and I love that he's just such a little dummy. What was that all about? Eustace has a lot to learn, is all. Milesy Wilesy. I just wanted to say old Greggy Pegleg would have been proud of you today. Oh, look at me tearing up. That and thanks for helping poor Sammy Poople. Hey, Edgy, looks like you cleared up everything, huh? So what happened exactly? I was kind of busy sketching. Wait, where'd Judy and Verity go? Wow, you really weren't paying attention, were you? Though I am loath to admit it, Larry's sketches did come through for us. Not that I'm about to tell him that. Quit with the glaring, will you? Whatever I did, I'm sorry. Calm down, Larry. I wasn't glaring at you. Yeah, you totally were. You're just like your pop. He was a terrible liar, too. He was. Listen, I'm gonna head out. Need to fill Samson in on what went down today. You wanna come with? Yes, of course. Oh, do we finally get to see Samson? Old man Samson? Old man Samson? Wait, this is so sweet. So what's Mr. Tangaroa like? I can't wait to finally meet him. Oh, he's a real sweetheart. You'll love him. Even when locked up, he can't help but make all sorts of cookies and cakes for everyone. That's why 3 p.m. cake extravaganza is a thing for prisoners and guards alike. That sounds awesome. You think there'll be any left for us to try? Didn't we find a few slices of chocolate cake in the prison? Oh, yeah! Could they have been some of Mr. Tangaroa's baked goods? Wow, I love the way that got connected. Gummy, what are you doing here? I heard you all were coming to see Mr. Tangaroa, so I volunteered to escort him. Hello, new friends. I'm Samson Tangaroa. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth at your service. And I'm Mr. Edgeworth's trusty sidekick. It's very nice to meet you both. Miles here is Gregory's son. Is that so? Your father was very kind to me and fought so hard for my case. But in the end, I betrayed him. I made a false confession and... Don't worry, Mr. Tungaro. Mr. Fender has explained everything to me. Sure did, and now we're both here to tell you the truth about what happened 18 years ago. The truth? Judy did all that for me. Crazy kid racked her brain for 18 years until she finally figured out how to set you free. What can I say? Turns out she really would do anything for you. That's right, Chet, Mike. Oh, Judy, I never did anything to deserve such devotion. Come now, Mr. Tungaro, I think we all know that's not true. The bond between the two of you has held strong for all these years, after all. You think so? Guess I better show him. The chocolates!
Take that!
These chocolates. Judy made them, didn't she? Yes, she did. They're super delicious and sweet. Miss Bound continued making them just as you taught her, even after that fateful day. So there would always be some waiting for you. I bet they're beyond super sweet then, aren't they? Very much so, I'm afraid. I only wish we could hand them to you. Don't worry, sir. I'm sure he gets them later. No, they're chocolates. They're chocolates, kitten. They're chocolates, kitten. Aww. This is really sweet. Thank you so much. You know, Detective, something about you reminds me of Detective Bad. Really, pal? Because I looked up to him a lot. He's my role model. You don't say. It seems fate likes to bring people of all sorts together, huh? You hang in there, Samson. Just a little longer. I should be able to get you out soon. Yeah, Gumshoe and Bad there. Sorry it's taken so long. Nobody should have to wait 18 years to get justice. Don't be silly, Eddie. I'm the one who should be saying sorry. Or rather, thank you, truly. Well, I guess it's my turn to wait for Judy to come home now. I better make sure there's something delicious on the table for her when she finally walks through that door. Don't let me down, Eddie. Leave it to me, big guy. What's crazy is that in any other game, this would be the final case. This would have been the final case in any other game. This game is so good. It's finally coming to a close. Hey, Miles. Thanks for today. I'm sorry for forcing you to make the final call like that. Not at all. I simply made the call that felt right to me. Huh? What are you guys talking about? You know how Samson was wrongfully convicted? Had to pretend he wasn't? But to use his false conviction against him, even to save him. As his lawyer, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I can see that. But now that Gusto's behind bars, I can finally start to get that wrongful conviction overturned. Yes, and I'm sure you will. That's crazy. I know that's crazy, Cowbell. Does this mean that even if what you were doing was right, if the false conviction had been overturned before today, Gusto would have gotten away? Yep. It's what we folks in the trade like to call a legal contradiction. The law is far from perfect. And because of things like legal contradictions, right? Yeah, but you never know. Things might change. The law's always evolving, just like us humans. Your Uncle Eddie and Malzarino included, am I right? The potential for growth and change in people and the law, huh? So, Miles. Are you gonna keep fighting crime as a prosecutor, or help people as an attorney? Something tells me you've got a big decision ahead of you, one only you can answer. I know. Well, let's just say I won't complain if you show up at the office one day. And on that note, it's time for me to skedaddle. I owe you big time, and I always repay my debts, but for now... Thanks again for today. I mean it. He's so cool. He's so cool. Did he seem kind of in a hurry to get out of here to you? He did. And honestly speaking, I'm the one who owes him a great deal of gratitude. He gave me the chance to reckon with my father's final case. When I was a boy, all I ever dreamed of was becoming an attorney like my father. But And during my time with Mr. Von Karma, I learned the way of the Prosecutor instead. Eventually, with the help of some good friends, I found my own voice and a new way to live. But now my career as a prosecutor is at risk of being taken away from me. It may be time to take another long, hard look at how I want to live my life, whether I like it or not. What? It's still going? Edgeworth and Co.? Hey, Gregory. Sorry for reporting in so late. May have taken 18 years. But we're finally in a position to prove Samson's innocence. All thanks to your boy, Miles. Couldn't have done it without him. You should have seen him. The way he fought for the truth gave me chills. It was like I was watching you. Aww. Look, I know I'm not half the attorney you were, but those guiding principles you tried to instill in me, I like to think I'm embodying them now as I carry on your legacy. Here's hoping. Oh! What? This game is so good! It's only case 3 and it's so good! What? What the heck? What the heck? Oh, what? Am I gonna fight crime as a prosecutor? What is the right answer? Which path should I choose? They did not need to go that hard. They did not need to go that hard, but they did. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How is this game so good? Alright, gang. Well, I do need to get going. Because as you guys probably know, I got my little trip I was talking about. And I'm definitely late for it, but I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it at all. Gosh darn it. That was so good. Yeah, no, I did tear up. Like, that's... Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, catch you guys. Oh yeah, if anyone else, yeah, my background, fun stuff. Good night to you, or not good night. Catch you guys later. See you next week. We're gonna continue playing this game. I do want to make some videos on YouTube about it, which is always some fun stuff. Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Let me know how your weekend goes. I'd love to learn more and pop in and see what you guys are up to. Have a good rest of your weekend. And yeah, see you guys next week. Bye, everybody. And don't go to Zhengfa and kill anybody with confection. What's the general dummy operation? What's that